All right. Sorry for the delay. I had a bit of a late night with a sick kid last night, so getting a late start today. Let's see, where did I end up? So I was working on merging Haka results, which, let me just leave a note here for myself. Works pretty well. Improves average scores, but tanks the score for shaky, which is their best test case. Which is not what I want. My hope was that like every time we ran it, like every time we merged more results, it would just get better and better. And then the shaky test, which is the best test, which is the last test to run, worst case, its score would remain the same because its results were better than all the ones that came before it. But then best case, maybe it would like improve it ever so slightly. So anyway, I'm going to table this. I don't want to work on this anymore. It is a bit of a harder problem than I thought it would be. I think I know what I need to do to make it work, but I also just don't want to take up any more time doing that. I have more pressing things I need to work on. So merge Haka results. I'm going to move that to the back burner for a second. And then let's have a little more fun today. Let me fix my desk. So let's work on the improving text display in VR. Let's get back into that. So that means for this, displaying text in OCR. So we merge that. Merging results. So we are merging the results. It's just not. There's bugs. There's bugs in edge cases. Yeah, let's just do this. Improve VR text rendering. Choose a new font. So this is going to require a little bit of research. I think I know what the reproduced issue is going to be that we're going to run into right away. But this will be a little more entertaining this morning. So for this, I am going to I close Godot, right? Git checkout main. Let's do that. I don't have any changes hiding, right? No, just that backup. So we'll launch Godot, and let me get the VR headset. I may even need to do more than that because I haven't done anything with this in a minute. All right. So let's see where things are at quality-wise. Let's get back into the experience. And let's confirm. Let's ignore the test suite for now. Let's get back to main. Right. And let's get our quest set up so you can see what I see. You know what? I do need to step away for a second because I know my controllers are out of batteries, so I need to go deal with that. I will be right back. Alright, sorry about that. I suspect somebody didn't replace the batteries correctly last time. So, running around like a chicken. And Meta changed how the headset works. So that's fun. Let me create some room for myself here, since it's been a minute since I've had my desk set up for this. Okay. And yeah, there we go. So let's pull the headset over here so we can view it from there. Let's just drag it off screen a little bit. Let's just confirm we can actually debug again. It's been a minute since we've debugged. Let's confirm, like, I don't know, maybe the app still works, even though I've spent so much time elsewhere. And I'm also curious, like, how fast or slow it is, because I've made a lot of changes with OpenCV, and I know how fast things are on desktop, and I know they will be slower on the headset. In theory, we're down around 3 seconds-ish on desktop, which means the headset is going to be anywhere from 2 to 3 times longer than that, which is not great. But if we're below 10 seconds, I'll be happy. Oh, right. Also, we have to bring out... Whoa. Why are you being... Okay. That took a while to load. I need to bring out my ADB commands. What is it? History, pipe. Where's pipe? Grep ADB. And of course, the history never remembers the things I wanted to remember. That's fine. I'll have to just go into that documentation I have for myself. Wow, what is going on with the machine being slow? I guess when Godot was building right now to export, it was taking up all the resources. All right, where are my docs? Whoa, the machine is slow right now. Okay, here we go. Well, it's still building. Yeah, I think my local machine was struggling. YouTube's complaining about not getting enough video. But that should be resolved. Wow, it's taking a lot of time to export. Usually it's not this slow. Alright, so I do need to do the permissions. And let's assume, well, who knows, I may have to debug an error. Here we go. So now it's deployed. Let's grant those permissions. All right, where are my controllers? Let's give that a moment to load, and then where is the book? All right. then how are the logs doing? Okay, so everything's still working so far. It's just slow. Let's see how long it takes before it finishes. Oh, it's taking forever to align frames. I wonder if it crashed somewhere. There's a bug. Heck, you know, it wouldn't shock me. I think I've run into this before. This is going to really derail things if this is true. No, okay, it finished. But it's possible that there is like an OpenCV method that runs fine on Windows because I had all the proper extra libraries needed, but didn't have them for Android, and so then when running it on the VR headset, it would fail. Okay, so there's our text. How do we make out here? I don't have a... Actually, I am just briefly curious how long things took. So that's the background process loop starting. I think it's really here. Yeah. So it didn't take long until we got to align frame 0. Wow, alignment took forever. That is... It's a long time. But okay. Once we got... I mean, that's something I can boost the speed of. I do know there's something I can do there to improve alignment so that alignment's faster. But once we have alignment, how quickly do we get results? So again, here we're talking 30 seconds. Okay, so ignoring, ooh, that is rough. So right now we're at 1.5 minutes. Whereas locally it's like 3 seconds. Okay, there's probably definitely something I can do there. There's probably some obvious things I can do. Obviously alignment is gross. And then actually, this has to be all, yeah. So this is us calling OCR Tesseract. And then that's how long it took to get results from Tesseract. 30 seconds. Ooh, that is rough. Okay. It is what it is. I got more work to do, I guess, to get that working. But that's not what we're doing right now. So the question is, where's my cast? Here we go. So it's true for you as it is true for me that this text here, down here, isn't very readable. From this distance, it's very chunky. The other thing is, if I grab this, that's pretty readable. It's pretty good. Not as good as I would like. And then one thing I'm noticing is like, where's the other controller? So if you look here in the middle, if I kind of like shift that, you can definitely see like stair stepping of the pixels. And the more I angle that, the more like now it gets smooth again, because kind of, like I said, like at a 45-degree angle, it's the most obvious, that stair stepping. So it's not very smooth. And I think that's happening in here too. Yeah, I think there's Yep, I can see stair stepping in there. That's what I'm calling it anyway. So if I hold it like this, let me assume I'm holding a regular book at a regular length. Obviously, this book is like overly enlarged. So it's readable, but I wouldn't enjoy reading this. And then, yeah, even if I look at the horizon, if you look at the horizon line in the distance and I shift 45 degrees, there's a good example of it. If you look at the horizon line, we're getting that stair stepping. So there's something going on here. And I think I had researched this before and I knew what it was. Ideally, what I would like is if that text there at that distance, that should still be readable. I mean, that's too far away, but it should still be like readable. And then the text that's closer, that's like in my hands, that should be very readable and feel very good. And it doesn't right now. I mean, you can ignore that, the rendering of that image up there. That's not a problem. I mean, it's probably related why the rendering's bad. And then, yeah, if we look at the ground, look at the shadows on the ground. I wonder if you can see that. You might not be able to see the shadows. But, yeah, you can definitely see it a little bit on camera. So right there, like the shadow is super pixelated. So I think I'm going to do a quick bit of research. Let me shut this down. So I know there's a couple of things. I know you know what, let me bring that up again. Like, I know depending on, I'm using the mobile renderer, I think technically that's not as good. I know Godot 4.5 brought in some new improvements to foveated rendering and how shadows can be handled, and you know, I think there's several other improvements that got made in Godot 4.5 that I don't have right now. Oh, this isn't coming up because yes. Oh, did the app crash? Oh, there we go. Just the headset moved on me for some reason. Okay. So are we still in debug? Wow, Meta changed something and max distance reached. Okay. Okay, so our FPS is at 36. How's this looking? Yeah, see, it took me out again. Okay, so our FPS is '60s. Here, let me just move the headset around with my hands. Okay, we're like 60 FPS. And then what else do we have here? So I'll have to learn how to read some of these things. I don't know how much of a rabbit hole I want to go down today on solving this. I know some of this I get for free just by updating to the latest version of Godot. So some of this might just be that. Here, let's kill it. So some of this might just be the FPS. And that might be some of the reasons why the text isn't displaying well. All right, but that's what I'm working on right now. So for better or worse, I'm going to go down this rabbit hole a bit. So what do we have here? That's arrays, enumerate, looping. All right, page dewarping. All right. This is some research I had started before. So what do we have here? Now this is from a year ago, but it might still be relevant. So seeing this came up in Discord a few days ago. Most standalone XR devices are running Android. Like the XR2 chipset, which I think this is the Quest 3. Strict limit on what these GPUs can do. Now, interestingly, Tesseract and OpenCV I think are CPU heavy. So it shouldn't really matter about the GPU for me. By the way, it is possible. And I think this is what is likely the issue is. Because I'm using sky and terrain, that we're getting like bad, like we're basically the sky. What am I trying to say? The skybox. So this beautiful, lovely skybox, which if you can see it's running live right now in the editor, and it's constantly changing the time. The sun is actually moving. As the sun moves, the shadows move. And actually, you can see it there. It's like looks pretty good, because this is running on the GPU on my local machine. But when it's running on the phone, I think that quality is kind of bad. So I think the classic advice would be to bake the shadows, which may mean, as much as I love the skybox and as much as I love that effect of when we detect that it's day or night inside the text, that like the sky quickly changes and like, you know, the sun comes up kind of deal. As cool as that is, on the VR headset performance wise, that might actually be quite terrible. And not really necessary for what I am trying to do. So I don't want to say this out loud, but I'll say it. As much as I love the Sky 3D and Terrain 3D, maybe they're not the right tool for what I'm building here. And I'd already kind of concluded that, you know, this experience, reading a book in VR, it shouldn't start in an experience. You shouldn't put on the headset and immediately be in a world. What you should be is in the real world. So you put on the VR headset and you should be in pass-through mode so you can see the real world. And then what you should do, you know, I'll probably provide like a pop-up or something and say, hey, go get a book off the shelf. So you go and get a book off the shelf, sit down, get comfortable, you open the book, and once we successfully OCR something, then take you out of pass-through mode and then bring you into an immersive environment. And that environment, if it's doing its job right, like the first class, the most important thing, the thing that can never fail in this app is the reading quality, the text on the page. So maybe what I need to do is scrap this, rip it all out, and maybe even just go implement that pass-through version. I've been meaning to do it anyway. Like get rid of the controllers because it's supposed to be your actual hands. The controllers are annoying. having to like hold the book with real hands and then hit that button, which the debug button's necessary, but like having a controller in one hand and a book in the other, it's quite annoying. So I should get rid of the controllers altogether anyway, and like start building the real version of this app. And if the skybox, I mean, let's assume sky and terrain are the problem. Maybe I can verify this right now. So Ready just does the XR interface. I think it's OCR Manager that I have controlling the skybox, right? Sky. Get node, sky. Set time. And I can't disable this? It manages time, moving the sun. Okay, maybe I can just mess with it here. So there's sky. Here, let's go back to 3D. Well, sky 3D enabled. Turn it off. I think we still might be okay, because I think I put a spotlight on the book. So let's check that out. Let's run it now. Oh, we're still casting? Shouldn't be. I'm gonna guess my FPS is gonna explode now. Let's try casting again. Come on, work this time. There we go. And then where are you at? Oh, okay. Well, I didn't get there in time for the permissions, so allow. And then I'm going to have to do the quit thing again. And then I'm going to have to relaunch it. Where is... unknown sources. Yeah. So, first off, can I see FPS? So it's saying 72, which is interesting. I would have expected something higher than that. Okay, well. Hold on. Do I have two bookmarks here? Yeah, I do. Okay. This is the one I care about. Well, one, I'm curious if things run faster now. FPS seems... These numbers are broken. Are we not getting debugging? Debugging stopped. Ugh. So frustrating. Oh, and you're not even... Well, hold on. could restart it and everything, but for the moment, let me just see. Why did it teleport me over here? There we go. By the way, press button's readable. I can now read that. Where's my controller? It is quite fun to, okay. Oh no, I dropped it. All right, whatever. This is why I need to like start implementing the final version of this. All right, so I'll just leave that on the ground. Yeah, drop through the floor anyway. So again, it's still gonna take, it's still taking like over a minute to run. Yeah, I can read that. To purr it simply. I mean, the OCR was bad, right? We had OCR issues. We must commit ourselves to providing. And oh, by the way, I'm not really seeing the pixelated. All right, so that solved that. I'm going to call that a victory. So the issue is Skybox. For now, I don't want to use it. So we're going to rip it out. And when I bring it back, we may never bring it back. Because from what I understand, like the performant way to do this is to bake the lighting. So instead of having dynamic lighting, just simulate the lighting. Which would mean, again, it's so cool though, the skybox. What I would probably want to do is have like a day-night cycle, but have like dawn, noon, twilight, nighttime with a moon. Maybe, you know, eventually a couple different flavors of moon if I really want to get crazy. To start, I'll probably just do like 2 or 3, right? Like noon, midnight, and then like an early dawn or evening, right? Maybe those 4. And get the scene figured out for those 4, and then pre-bake the lighting for it. So that when we switch to dawn, you really get that sense of it being dawn, and all the lighting and the shadows all look good, but the shadows aren't dynamic. They're computed once, they render once, and then that's it. And that would solve the performance issue. So let's see here. You know what? This is why we have version control, right? Let's start gutting it. Let's delete. Let's delete. And then let's go to our scripting. You know, we need the performance to be good. So project settings, plugins. We'll keep them here, but let's turn them off. Okay. I do need to version bump a bunch of Godot things. Maybe it's time to do that as part of this. But I can do that off camera. I don't want to do that. It's not as entertaining. I don't think, anyway. You tell me. Okay, so then OCR Manager. You know what? Rip it out. Update time. Where is update time called? Process function. I'm going to leave this here commented out because this is, there will be a, during a process function, this was when we would, well, no, because we wouldn't have to do anything on process anymore. I got some junk I need to clean up anyway. Yes, this is cool code, but it's all gone. Let's take it out. Kill your darlings, as they say. Okay, now, what's next? Let's look at our main. So we have our delay call function. Have camera permissions, does its checking on ready. We do our thing. Set our camera texture for the debug server. Process, set up debugging. Yeah, that's all fine. Game state. Do you have anything that we care about? Got a bunch of signals. Camera feed, camera texture. Log. Yeah, there's not much to you. Detector doesn't care, right? Book text doesn't care. Debug HUD. Should not care, I would think. Yeah, I do have a bunch of things I need to clean up. That's probably it, right? So we have our book, which is its own scene, which is a pickable. It probably doesn't need to be. Oh, there's that book. Right. There's the table and the book. I'm going to rebuild this anyway. So that scene, this pickable scene's probably going to go away. Yeah, that's just the pickable script attached to it. OCR manager, which is fine. That's its own thing. I do have... outside of main... got my singleton, which is just the game state, right? Do I have any others? XR tools and then game state. That's it. Yeah, I mean, I think otherwise I haven't really touched the sky stuff in a while. So what about XR? Well, project export. Do I want to mess with this just yet? So we've disabled all that. See, I know things have changed. All right. Now, this focus right now is getting text to be very readable. That's our focus right now. As long as I can do that, it's a success. So let me do another test. Let's run this. Let's cast. Oh, yeah, I need to kill. There we go. And then build's still happening, yep. And now this time I can do the permissions properly. right, there's our permissions. Continue. All right, it's loading. Why is the table all the way over there? All right, that's fine. And then let's hit that. And what I want to see is how long this takes. But I also want to see the FPS. Ooh, yeah, debug 72 FPS. Still smaller than I would have liked. Let me wheel, see if I can wheel myself over here. And see, I still get some of that stair stepping. A little bit. But it's much smaller though, actually. It's quite smoother. I think maybe out there, if I look at the top of the page, I can see it a little bit. I think it's mostly okay. Enough that I'm willing to ignore it for now. And again, if I version bump, and I'm sure there's some settings I can figure out. Also, I am still doing dynamic lighting, right? Because I am lighting this scene. So when I turn that, the book, see, it gets darker because the light is being dynamically computed, which is probably what's keeping our FPS around 70 maybe. And until OCR finishes, I need to hold on to this book. If I let go of the controller, if I let go of the trigger, then the whole thing's going to drop. Okay. Whole product commitments, however, are expensive. Okay, this is actually good. That's about as readable as I can expect, which is, I thought I had done it the right way. I thought I had put the text on the page correctly, and I think I have. So now we can move, so I'm happy with that. That's good enough. As it falls off into the distance. FPS is 72. I still maybe want to look into that. Like, why is the FPS so low? I'm not doing that much. Although I guess I do have, like, pass-through video feeds running the whole time. You know, I wonder if I turned off the debug panel, if our FPS would go higher. I just want, before I go down the rabbit hole of like looking into FPS, maybe I should confirm that. Also, what the hell? Why is this? Just drag it over a bit. Help ourselves out a little. Oh yeah, let's check our output. Did the runtime increase because we disabled that? So here we go, aligning frames. Wow, it still took over a minute just for that. Okay, something's not great there. I have to go look into what's taking so long. Once we have it, though, that still took 28 seconds. Okay, so no real improvement there. So, and which is, I guess, kind of a good thing. That means this is happening in a background parallel thread, as it should be. There is a chance that if we go look at our logic here, our thread affinity logic is basically telling it which cores to use. Maybe this doesn't work right. It's maybe selecting the wrong core, potentially. So I'll have to go look at that, see if I could experiment with it and just see, like, one, is it consistent, right? Like, well, one, if I change, if I change the cores, does it somehow get faster or slower, right? Can I see a noticeable difference? And then two, is that consistent? Like, what if is it always core number 4, or is there something funky there where, like, it changes? It's also possible meta changed something. Okay. What's next? Okay, so that's all pretty good. I wanted to do font, right? Did I have font here? See, I did have, I think it's on my laptop. Let me bring that up. So let's do Godot add custom font. Using fonts. Font sizes are no longer defined in the font itself, but are instead defined in the node that uses the font. Right, so we have our fonts. All right, let's see what kind of font we have. Let me go look this up, because I wanted to start with a super readable font and go from there. I just wanted to focus on, can we make it super comfortable? So let's go find that. Hold on, percent font. There we go. Right, I do remember this now. I was like, what is the place that I found? So we're looking at the Braille Institute. And we'll just do free font. Braille Institute free font. This is something I come across a long time ago. So let's go bring down this font and add it in. And if this works and it's very readable, then I think this is where I would stop for this pull request anyway. Make this change, get it merged. And then the next pull request is going to be, let's see here. Yeah, we're going to do switch to hands instead of controller. Merge Haka results, OCR processing in under 10 seconds. I think then we also need to do start in pass-through mode. Yeah. So those will be the next two things. So use hands instead of controllers. So this will probably be its own code change. So get this merged. Get this as its own code change. And then let's start the app and pass through and only switch to environment once we OCR something successfully. And then I've got the bones of like a app that functions and kind of feels good too, I think. So hey, what's up, Epic Game Dev? How you doing? Yes, so let's see. How do I get this font in? Fine, download now. Email address. Here, I'll take care of that over here. I am putting in my Ude's email address, but I just don't want that to be too public, I guess. It's easy to find if you know where to look. Yeah, let me read their license. You are welcome to download more than one font version. What is a next font? Next font versus mono font. Let's learn a little bit about fonts, shall we? Oh, well, that's Next.js. Okay, so this is their license, though. Fine, let me just take a quick moment and read their license. Yeah. Open font license. Are to stimulate real-world development of fonts. To be used, studied, modified, and redistributed freely as long as they are not sold by themselves. The fonts, including any derivative works, can be bundled, embedded, redistributed, and/or sold with any software provided that any reserved name are not used by derived works. The fonts and derivatives, however, cannot be released under any other type of license. Yeah. I believe this is a... I believe this is fair game, then. I'm just not directly familiar with this specific license. Or, well, hold on. Control A, Control. Really? I can't Control A like that? What are you doing? This highlighting is really annoying. Why is this like this? Fine, let me do this. And I will quickly just ask an AI to summarize it. Below is a license for a font. Am I allowed to use that font in a game I am developing? My reading of the license is that yes, I can, but let's get a second opinion. Of the SIL open source license. use the font in the game, embed the font in the game. Yep. Distribute your game even commercially. Right. That's my understanding. Sell the font itself. Use the reserved font name to refer to a modified version. Right. If you're modifying the font, you have to rename it and distribute it under the same license. Yeah, that was my understanding as well. Okay. So I'm good. I think I'm good. Let me just give it another quick little read. I'm always worried about licenses, right? Why is it? Okay, unclick. Yeah, okay. All right, so what am I looking at here? Fine. Let me download that. Let me nuke these test results. And then where's our downloads here? Can I create like a fonts folder maybe or something? I may move this, but I just want to have a place where I can put all this for the moment. Yeah, let's extract that. Wait, cancel. All right, now what do I have? So the mono font. I don't know what this is. Okay. Fine. What does this mean? Is it mono font versus... Fine. You know what? I just downloaded a font. It comes in 3 versions. Mono, next, and the original version. What are the differences? What does this mean? Like mono next, these usually refer to the different styles and configurations of the font designed for specific use cases. Mono spaced. All characters are the same width, right? Like on a typewriter. Code editors, terminal windows. Right. I remember that now. Characters have variable widths, like most fonts you read in books or websites. So it's optimized for readability, aesthetics, and general use. Great for readability in code or data, where character alignment is important. Usually a revised or updated version of the original might include improved kerning, spacing between letters, additional glyphs, language support, newer generation of the original font. Okay, but like, what are these then? Three choices. Okay, well, you know, RTFM, right? It's our latest and greatest and suitable for everyday readers. So they're saying use next. Okay. We've created a family of hyper-legible fonts designed to improve legibility and readability for individuals with low vision. And that's part of the reason why I want to use this font. I just want to like really, like eventually I probably will support multiple fonts and let the user pick what they want. But since reading in VR is probably not the best because of hardware limitations, I'm guessing, I'll take any help I can get. So if I can do a hyper-readable font, and then hopefully maybe even the goal would be that like reading, my dream would be that reading in VR is better than reading in the real world. So that especially if you have somebody with vision issues, that they would reach for this app first, because they could take a book off the shelf and see that the font is tiny and has serifs and all this nonsense, and then decide, you know what, let me put on this app, let me put on the VR headset, open the book, and then have a hyper readable font where they can change the font size to make it bigger, maybe because they, you know, again, vision issues as you get older. And then all of a sudden, like, this app becomes the best way to read anything for anybody whose eyes are no longer young, or again, they have any vision issues or focus issues or cognitive issues or anything that's going to interfere with them focusing their attention on reading, whether it be a story or just work. Who knows? Maybe this app is the killer app for that. That's my hope. But if anything, if all it lets it do is mean that reading in VR doesn't suck more than reading in the real world, I'll take it. So that's why I'm going with this font to begin with. Clear, highly distinctive letters and numbers that make reading easier and more accessible. Our award-winning font has made reading easier for millions. Okay. 2019. Officially added to permanent collection. Okay. Unique design features. Certain letters and numbers can be hard to distinguish from one another. Unambiguous letter forms. Letters have received special care to ensure they're legible and clear. Yeah, B and 8 look very different. O and 0 look very different. Yes. I mean, I can even say, like, why wouldn't this be... You know, it's interesting. They do have a version of it. So I guess the monospacing version would be for code editors and data. Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you? I've had so many situations where you're looking like the hex value of something, or you're looking at data and it's like, oh, is that an O or is that a 0? I mean, password managers. I use a password vault. I auto-generate all of my passwords. I don't ever memorize passwords. But in the process of generating, like this scenario specifically, O and 0 looking identical, almost identical, where if they're side by side, I can tell which one's the O and which one's the 0, but if they're by themselves, I don't know. And then of course you get those websites that insist that thou shalt type in the password, because why does anybody type in a password these days? Like, why wouldn't... You'd think password vaults would be the standard. And so I should be able to copy paste my password into the input. Like, why are you going to make me hand type in my password? Anyway, so you hand type it in and you mistype the O for 0 or vice versa. So that's great. I think my password vault, who knows? I think I'm on a slightly older version. Maybe they've updated since then, but it always bugs me when password vaults especially don't have this figured out. Clear uprights. Similarly shaped upright letters are distinctly different. Right, so the 1 doesn't have the feet on it to make it look like an I, which doesn't make it look like an L because it has the little hook at the end. Okay. Distinct pairings. Matching letter pairs are clearer and easier to identify. This one I don't fully understand. Open counters. Large area inside letters called counters keep characters clear. Oh, is that like the O inside of G and B and like E there, maybe? Spurs and tails. Angled spurs and longer tails help increase differentiation. Is that like the little nook there? Special circles. Circular elements reflect the heritage of the Braille Institute. Are you going to tell me the letter A looks like that? No, because this letter A, I mean, I think they're using this on this page. Everything here is this font. Circular elements reflect the heritage of the Braille Institute. Special circles. I don't know what that means, really, but okay. Glyphs, okay, fine. Yes. I'm spending way too much time on this. Hold on, let me... check in on things. Okay, cool. Free personal use for all commercial applications. Yeah, that's what I read as well. I mean, it wouldn't make sense for them to create a font like this. I mean, they want it to be used. That's the whole reason they created it. So of course it should be free for commercial use. You just can't take this font, slap your name on it, and sell it and say that, hey, here's this font I created, pay me money. That's the only thing you're not allowed to do with it. Okay, the next one. Okay, so yeah, this is the next one. Okay, so now back to Godot. How do I install this? So Godot supports the following dynamic font formats. I don't know what is with this _ Mac OS X. Well, I'm on Windows right now, so this means whoever packaged this up, I think maybe for whatever reason they ended up with this folder. For professional use, this is, I think, I don't think I want any of this. Yeah, a .ds store file. Yeah, definitely was zipped up on a MacBook. So this is for professional use only. I'm a professional. I don't think I want any of that. So I think I just need... Yeah, we've got light, italics, medium. So I just need the OTF files. OTF, open type, font, and collections. Godot supports the following dynamic. While web open, yeah, I don't need web. Smaller file sizes, there is no universal better font format. Okay, font. Loading a font file. To load a font file, dynamic or bitmap, use the resource drop-down quick load. So what is this? You're going to import. God damn it. Godot, can't you just leave it alone? I'll let you know when I want to import something. Let's see here. Font. So this would be fonts for the UI though. See, that's a theme. But this is project settings, right? No, I don't think I need any of that. So, okay, where am I doing this? Let's see. Let me trace it again. It's been a minute since I've had to look at this. Add page text. Page text updated. Book text. Page text updated. Right, self.text. So book text. See, that's pickable. That's not book text. So if I go into the scene, so this is one of those areas where Godot makes it hard to understand things. Like, where is this being used? Because this is a label 3D. Oh, wait. Here we go. There we are. Yeah, there's our label 3D, self.text. So this is going to have font on it, right? So that's what I want to look up. Godot label 3D default font. Project settings GUI theme. But that can't be right. Like, why would it be GUI? It shouldn't be the GUI. GUI skinning. Label with font. In other scenes, I instantiate the label scene instead of under themes. It is essential for a game to provide a clear, informative, and yet visually pleasing user interface to its players, while control nodes come with a decently functional look out of the box. GUI skinning, or theming, which allows you to customize the look of every control in your user interface, including your custom controls. Basics of themes. The skinning system is driven by the theme resource. Every Godot project has an inherent default theme that contains the settings. Yeah, right. This is what gives the controls their distinct look. This is important to remember when implementing. A theme only describes the configuration, however, and it is still the job of each individual control to use that configuration in the way it requires to display itself. Default theme, but it doesn't look the same as a Godot project because it applies its own heavily customized theme. Theme items. Font. Yeah. Theme type. You can also define your own theme type. Fine. Each control node can be customized directly without the use of themes. This is called local overrides. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Customizing a project. Out of the box, each project adopts the default project theme provided by Godot. The default theme itself is constant and cannot be changed. Right, but its items can be overridden with a custom theme. Custom themes can be applied in two ways, as a project setting and as a node property throughout the tree of control nodes. There are two project settings that can be adjusted to affect your entire project. GUI theme custom allows you to set a custom project-wide theme, and GUI theme custom font does the same to the default fallback font. When a theme item is requested by a control node, the custom project theme, if present, is checked first. Only if it doesn't have the item, the default theme is checked. GUI theme custom. Where's GUI? Custom theme. So we have custom theme and custom font. Does the same to the default fallback font. Check for local overrides. Yep. Use controls, type variation, class name, parent class names. Theme. Okay. And how does one create a theme? All right. Always fun. Using the theme editor. How to create and manage UI themes using the Godot editor and its theme editor tool. GUI skinning theming by reading Introduction to Skinning. Right. Theme type. Okay. Right, okay, so I did that. The theme editor is a bottom panel tool that activates automatically when a theme resource is selected. It contains the necessary UI for adding, removing, and adjusting theme types and theme items. Creating a theme. Themes can be created directly in the file system doc by right-clicking and selecting New Resource. Close. Can be done by right-clicking and wait. In the file system doc. Can you now? Maybe if I search for something, don't find it, and now I have blank space where I can click New Resource. Yeah, it's annoying. Theme, right? New theme. Let's just go with the reading room theme. And I guess I'll put it here. Probably need to reorganize the project a little bit. Oh, hey, look, there's the theme down here, theme editor. There we go. Okay. Yeah, and I could have done it this way, but then I'd have to then like just, that feels like a hacky way to go about creating a theme. Especially a theme that I know I'm going to use everywhere. Empty theme and open in the theme editor. Keep in mind that resources created this way are bundled with the scene by default. Use the context menu to save the new theme to a file instead. Okay. What is this? Default preview, the theme. Select a theme type from the list. Color, okay, here we go. From the list to edit its items. You can add a custom type or import a type from another theme. This is a little confusing. Themes also include the default fallback font that you can edit only using the inspector doc. This implies the constant. Theme editor has two main parts. Aims to provide users with tools to quickly create, edit, and delete theme items and types. The main theme editor located at the bottom of the Godot editor. The left-hand side has a set of preview tabs. Most of the frequently used controls in various states. You can add additional ones, right? So I can see, okay, that's cool. So you can like create like certain elements and see how they would look, so that you can just mess with the theme here and not have to look at it inside your app. If you make changes to the scene, they will not be reflected in the preview automatically. Sure. Theme types and items. The right-hand side of the theme editor provides a list of theme types available in the edited theme resource. Okay. Individual items of the default can be added. Still quite confusing. Here, this, let's do add. What is this, foo? Oh, it found these. What do I want? I want, next. Okay, well, I can't keep track of any of this, so let's go with fonts. Fine. I'm nervous that Godot is going to break things. So, you know what? I still have the zip folders, so that's fine. I was going to add a GD ignore file and then delete them, or then move them rather, but I don't need to move them because I have the zip files. So I can just do delete. And then delete. Cool. And now if I do quick load, if I expand this out, really? It's that many fonts? That doesn't seem right. Oh, you know what? This is dumb. It's still being dumb. So if I go in here, let's delete that. And then if I go in here, let's delete that. There. Now we just have the dozen or so fonts that actually matter. So now if I do quick load, hey, look at that. And if I just type next, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, 14. Cool. So if I do, oh. How do I, this is really annoying. So you add a font here. All right, so this is the manual load. And it's not a select multiple. So weird. New font system. Loaded from a system font. This is getting annoying. Godot, come on. Why is there not just a straightforward way to do this? Can be added to the current theme, overriding the theme. Fine, you know what? Yeah, here's the thing. If I do foo, and I add foo, now foo is a font. Got you. So it's adding new things to the theme, but I can do the default theme, quick load. I can do Atkins. I didn't want to do that. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see here. Bold, light, medium, regular, extra crispy. Like, what do I... bold italics, extra bold, light, medium, regular, semi-bold. All right, probably regular, right? Okay, there we go. So that's our theme. Project settings. Whoa, okay, okay, I think I just crashed Godot. That's fun. I wanted to try something real quick. If I, to main here, right? Let's add a node, a vanilla node. Let's rename it to B800. There, B800. Now, if I go to project settings, now that we crashed things, GUI theme. Okay, there's our theme. There's our custom theme. Save and restart. You know, I wonder if that thing that I canceled out of was saving the theme, which I didn't do. I don't expect this to change here, but I just want to confirm. So where's our custom theme? That's what I may have lost. I may have lost the custom theme changes, which is really annoying. Okay, here's that. No, there's our default font. Show in file system. Yeah, there we go. Cool. So the font is there. Now, what happens if I go to a page? Close that. And I should be able to like close this, right? Oh, I see. it went to the theme. Fine. By the way, see, here's our interface theme. Do we get a font change here? Custom theme. Let's do that. And I probably won't keep it. I don't want to mess with Godot's. Alright, so when I canceled out there, I thought I was canceling out of this save event, but no, I ended up canceling out of it trying to save some sort of sub-resource, which I think is fine, but I may have like undid a change. That's what I was worried about. That's why I went back into the theme. So actually, yeah, take a look at that. So the 0 and the O, very distinct. The 8 is very distinct, much more readable. I don't want that, but now I know. Interface theme. Here, let's revert that. Save and reload. I mean, I was pretty sure that's what was going to happen. Okay, so now that means that theme should be applied to the project. And the main way to know that would be to delete that node. Let's go into 3D. Ooh, perfect. Now, if I do scripting, press button is a book text, right? So if I do self.text equals B8 O0 O. Now here, at least they put a dot inside the 0, so that's a little bit more readable. But the B and the 8, you know, I can tell the difference, but I could definitely see people having trouble. We go back to 3D. Page number, text, fine. I guess I have to make the change here for the moment. B8 O0. Yep, that's definitely the new font. I think, right? I'm 99% certain. Yeah, that O is much more round. And that 0 okay, but for some reason let me go back to this. Oh, if page number. Yeah, I mean, this is on ready on load. But the default was already being set here. So this would take precedent. So technically, I think this isn't needed at all. But okay. Gotcha. So now, can I do shift? What is it? Alt? Okay, well, I wanted to try to see if I could do like a fine-tune zoom in. But what happens if we do... Okay, see, look, if I do that, I can see I'm doing something stupid here. Okay, let's get rid of that. Ooh. Outline size is... Fine. Let's keep it by default. But see, that's quite chunky. Okay, that's the default. Modulate, huh? So it's trying to be white text for whatever reason, which I don't want it to be. Justification. Auto, language. So weird. See, font. But we already have a font. So that would be an override. Because if I change the theme, yeah, I mean, this is definitely the new font. I don't need to go bark up that tree. That's kind of funny. Can I make it transparent? Can I turn it off? Like, why is this all going off the screen too, by the way? Cool, so we take the alpha channel all the way down, and now that's gone. So now, okay, that's good. So now we're no longer like bulking it up for no good reason. So it's providing that outline, which maybe I want. You know, maybe I do want that. Come on, there we go. So maybe I do want that outline. Outline size. So right there, like, look at that. So that's not great, but then if I go... That doesn't help any, but the difference between 0 and 1 is... I think that just like made it slightly more crisp. So I think that works. So I got 24, and then for the font, let's do bold. Next bold, bold italics, semi-bold. Let's go semi-bold, why not? Feels fuzzy. Why is that? Why is this not as readable as I would like? Light PDF. Oh, never mind. Let's go bold. Yeah, see, this didn't pick up the same attributes. I guess that's the one proof in the pudding. Which is more readable? A or B? Thinking about my last eye doctor visit. I mean, definitely B. That does seem better. Okay. So, by the way, I should be able to do delete there. Should be able to do this, right? And that should be 0. And now with text, yeah, it should have the same changes. It's default. I can go back to that. That's the only thing I changed. So copying that around was fine. And then the one other place I might want this is the debug HUD. So this still has the same old. Can I copy that over here? So if I do Control C, same deal, right? So if I do delete, paste it. Yeah, there we go. We got our new font. Good, I'm glad that that works. And that's pretty reusable then, in my mind. All right, so how does this look in VR? As long as this looks reasonably okay for now, I'm gonna move on and be confident in the fact that even if it's not perfect, at least I know what I need to do in order to get font and sizing and everything the way I need it to look. In theory, that I can make it readable. So hopefully I've made things more readable. Let's find out though. Let's cast, sure. does this keep asking me to allow like 20 times? That was annoying. All right, and then let's run this. And this will probably be the last thing I do before I step away. Yeah. But this is good. We're back on track. So back to this being done, at least somewhat done. Means now I can move on to that next thing, which is let's get rid of the controllers, let's get to hand tracking, and let's start the experience in Passthrough instead of starting it in a 3D environment. In the next couple of weeks, I really want to focus on all the little tiny things that are going to make this app work. Like, get rid of focus on the front end, not the back end. Front end meaning the visuals, the UI, the UX of the app. And I'm very confident I'm close to OCR being where I need it to be. Right now, it still doesn't look good, but I'm confident I can get it there. I'd rather circle back to that with fresh eyes in a couple of weeks and instead focus on the things that are going to make this thing look visually stunning as an app, or at least feel like a real app. So that's where I'm going to focus starting today, basically. I am not looking at C++ code. I am not looking at OpenCV for at least, I don't know, a week or two. Although I think I'm going to put together a video that I'm going to put on YouTube of what I've learned from OpenCV. While that's fresh in my mind, I'm going to try to do that this week. So go generate some of the results, test results, get some image data, things like that, and then talk that through in like a 10-minute video. That'll be the only thing I do this week when it comes to OpenCV. But otherwise, yeah, I want to just start doing all this kind of stuff, working actually in Godot. Wow, this install is taking longer. All right, there we go. So let's put the headset on and yeah, switch to controllers, which is really annoying to have to do that every time. Okay. So I'll say from here, that's not as readable. Maybe I will A/B test them. Maybe I will undo that last code change so that I could probably put the text on both and then compare them side by side. But if I do this, again, this OCRing should be worse because we are in natural lighting here. I didn't put on the overhead lights. I wonder if the quality is a lot higher. Speed may also be quicker. I've noticed that if the pre-processing of the images are better, then everything's faster. So that might be true. But in any case, if I bring this over here now, yeah, you know, that is a better font, I'll say. Alignment, which is taking forever. I definitely think I know how to speed that up. And actually, I just got done saying that I'm done with OpenCV and C++, but a minute and a half is unsustainable. So I think I am going to have to, at least briefly sometime this week, go back into that code and at least speed up the OCRing, right? Since if I'm going to be testing the VR app over and over again, I at least need that to be reasonably good, speed-wise. So let's see it finish. Come on, what are you doing? Oh, currently getting the OCR results. Oh. Oh, I didn't make the update there, right? So that's why it's going to display both. So that's fine. I'll do that here too. Whole product commitments, however, are expensive. Yeah, I mean, this is a lot more readable. It is bold. That could mean maybe I don't want to use the bold version, that I should be using the regular version and just increasing the font size. I'd have to play with that. But this is good progress. I'll say, like, this is pretty readable. You know, I should be able to put that there and not lose it. I should be able to go into the editor here. Well, first off, if I take this and change that and save, I don't think that updated. No, that's fine. But what I could do is, let's do Control Z, Control Z. Cool. So this is the old one that doesn't have the font. 24.4. Let's copy that and come over here. And let's delete this one. And we'll undo that. And then over here, so that's page 0, page 0. Let's make that page 0. And did that affect anything in VR? Let's find out. Oh, well, the app's frozen right now. I'm not going to bother rerunning it. If it's frozen, it's frozen. That should be okay. Yeah, it doesn't say that debugging is broken. Maybe it'll recover in a second. I'm not gonna like rerun the whole thing. Hold on. You are banned. Get out of here. Okay. Yeah, so I'm not gonna like rerun it right now and make you or myself wait a minute and a half for that to run. But now that I've done that, what that means is the next time I run it, I'll be able to A/B test it. So I'll be able to see text on left, text on right, and then what I can do is keep making changes and tweaks until like the text is just more and more and more readable. Just keep making it more readable. I guess I don't really have to worry about the HUD, like it being readable from a distance. But I guess well, yeah, moving the headset doesn't matter because we've broken things. But I don't know, it would be nice if it's like good and readable from arm's length at least. That would be nice. And then yeah, just confirming that the A/B test works, and then I can keep doing A/B testing. And I'll just do page 1 for now. But I will eventually have to swap in page 2. All right, so where are we at then? I'm going to call this done. Let me push up my code. I don't love that we have this double nestedness here. And it's a fonts folder. That's probably fine. We've got add-ons. it shouldn't be in the add-ons folder. Android. That needs to be the way it is. Docs, source. You know, I probably... I could create like an assets folder maybe or something like that and move some of that in there, and then the scripts and the scenes could be, you know, I could do a slightly better folder structure. I think it being in fonts for now is fine. Git checkout -b, improve readability. And let's do a diff. Yeah, there's our font file. Interesting that the debug HUD has that. I guess that's true. We just changed the settings, right, for that one page. We only did it for the one page. We didn't do it for the other effectively. The other has been reverted. And then the main scene, we also have the font. We deleted a bunch of stuff. And then moved something, changed some transforms. There's page number. It's been undone. We got rid of the sky stuff. Hurts my heart, but it's got to be done. Right. So we're going to do star.gd and then project.godot. Git add fonts. And then what's our status diff? Git add star.tscn. Git add reading room theme. And if I go up on this, okay, not too much. Those zip folders. Let's not do that. Yeah, how do I ignore the DS store? I actually ran into this the other day where I was trying to ignore it and it wasn't working. Like I could ignore it at the root, but for all subfolders, it wouldn't. All right. ls fonts. You know, I guess I could... No, I don't need them. I can always go get them again. Yeah, you know what? Let me remove this. Move, duplicate to fonts, create folder. And we'll call this Atkinson hyper legible next. Move. Okay, darn. Hold on. Move to okay. That we can delete. And then this we can delete. There. Now it's flat and they got proper names. And then if I do a git status -s here. Git add fonts. There we go. Git diff debug HUD.scene. And now we see, okay, so the move, if I had moved it outside of Godot, we would have had a problem probably, because then we would get an error that it can't find this font anymore with this path. But since I did the move from within Godot, Godot is smart enough to update all these paths. So now instead of having this weird, ugly quoted, so if we do ls fonts, see now instead of it being some weird quoted thing because it had spaces in the names, like I don't know why people put spaces in the names of folders. Windows especially, like program files has been a thing forever, and the fact that there's a space in that name has always caused problems, to the point where now there's like a whole workaround to like quoting paths because you have to have the quote around it, otherwise this will break because it has a space in here. But since I did that move, now it's all flat and nice. The fonts don't have spaces in them. I am not going to rename these. I'll keep those as is. Cool. So that's good. More legible, less ugly. Git add star.tscn. Git add reading room.theme. There we go. Improve text readability and remove sky and ground. Normally I would make those two separate pull requests, but they are related because that was hurting readability. So that's going to push, and that's going to take a moment. I'm like, what are you doing, Git? Why aren't you doing your thing? There we go. There we are. And I'll just code review this briefly, but I'll probably go ahead and merge this. So yeah, we've changed our font. Interesting. So it's always good to just, I don't know, understand how things work under the hood. So this has 8 load steps. Okay. Now we're loading a font. The font is a resource that has a path. Here's its UID. And then font external resource 3DEXJ. Oh, here's the ID. So it has a UID and an ID. It's using the ID to load the external resource. I know they now gave UIDs to everything. I would think it should use that UID. Maybe either that's not supported yet, or maybe I have to do something special to have it refer to it by its UID, which would be unique forever. Got a bunch of font files. Yeah, we've got a bunch of imports. Joy. Here, let's close that. Cool. Here's our main scene. Yeah, I deleted the texture 2D, the scripts. Those are gone, so we don't load those anymore. I didn't check the frame rate, I don't think, after completely deleting them. Maybe I did. Again, I don't know why the frame rate isn't higher. Oh, I think that's because of the video, right? I'm thinking video is the problem. So if I turn off the debug HUD, I wonder if I get even more frame rate out of it. Which, as long as I do, that's fine. That's the test right there. Yeah, this looks right to me. And we have fewer enabled plugins. And who knows, I might be able to bring these back. There might be a version of the settings. I'll have to go look at their settings where I could maybe do like a fixed time of day with pre-baking of the lighting. Because it would be nice to use you know, the cycles of the moon and all the other stuff, especially the sky especially. Terrain, yeah, I could also see using terrain. They're both very powerful tools, but only if it's not going to hurt my frame rate. Cool. Well, I'm going to merge this. Had to remove Sky 3D and Terrain 3D, as they were killing the frame rate and readability of text. Probably because of dynamic lighting. Investigate later if we can bring them back. I'm going to take that as a stretch goal. You know, the initial version of this app is going to be much more ethereal and less specific. And by that I mean, like, I just need the ambiance to match the text so you can stay focused and lost on the text that you're reading and not worry about, like, looking up and seeing a moon that looks correct. So if I do bring them back, it'll be as part of that, like, next phase of immersion and not the initial version of the app. The initial version of the app doesn't need it, and it's a distraction. Yeah. There. And then Godot. Oh, stop and quit. Probably was still running in the app, right? Let's uninstall. And did this ever come back? No, we were still frozen. Let's kill that. Yeah, it's still hanging, but it'll figure itself out. And then git checkout main, git branch -d, git pull origin name. You might be wondering, why am I doing all these extra steps? It's just discipline over the years has taught me that I will thank myself in a year if I have nice, clean pull requests with feature changes that are committed in small chunks. I will need to, at some point, I will need to go back to maybe right before this commit and go see, like, hey, how was the skybox working? You know, things like that. I'll need it. I will need it. So better to do it now than later. Default fonts. Okay, so I got all this working. Slightly more confusing than it probably should be. Theme editor, using fonts. Yeah, I've been meaning to go through this. I probably will at some point. Oh, right. Forgot about this. I probably should go through this too. And then the performance considerations for standalone XR. Yeah, I need to read this, and there may even be an update to it. April, 90 FPS. Yeah, I gotta go read through this. Make sure, like, just gotta keep an eye on performance. I don't need to be perfect, but I also don't want it to be terrible. Yeah, anyway, all right, I think that's probably it. Let's check on things here. So display OCR text in Godot VR. Yep, that's working. We improved the VR text rendering. We chose a new font. Yeah, all that's there. And then this got merged. Improved text display. I didn't have any subtasks on that. That's done. Okay, so I won't stream again until Monday, I don't think. But I think we'll probably, I don't know. I'll see which one of these I pick, but I might even start on these two over the next couple days, or who knows? I may spend the next couple of days to go fix some things off screen, and then Monday maybe get these working. I don't know. Either way, thank you for hanging with me, and chat soon.